Holiness in 5. I'm Ben Godwin.
I'm Captain Carlisle Gargis. We're glad that you're here with us today. We had a viewer write in and said, Captain, could you explain a little bit about the sin nature? Help us to understand it. And so I've got Ben here helping me, and we brought you to the whiteboard today, and where we're going to be talking about our sin nature. So Ben, get started. We like to use here at our core, when we're talking about the sin nature, we like to use a picture of a tree. And so right here, you'll see coming across here, that's obviously the ground. Here we have roots. And then right here, Ben has done a great job of drawing us a tree and the fruit that's in it. Of course, our sin nature happens, is carried through. It comes from our first parents. This sin nature, it flows in through every man, woman, and child. We are born with it. And it is a nature that is turned towards sin. And so the roots here, the sin nature, and this is within our lives. That's what this represents. This tree it represents, and its fruit is the outflow of sin nature in our lives, the things that happen. This happens to be the sin that we've committed. Now, the great thing that happens is when we ask Jesus into our heart to ask for his forgiveness of our committed sin, he washes away the guilt of our sin and the guilt of our committed sin. Yet, there's two different kinds of sin. There's a sin nature, there's a committed sin, so there's two kinds of cleansings. There's a forgiveness of the guilt of sin, and then here we have to have something different, a purifying of the sin nature. And so, as a person grows in their walk with Christ, there comes a desire in their heart to know Christ more. Because this sin nature is still within us. Old habits, old past ways of sin, those urges are still there, and we want that out of us. And so it comes to a point that we are ready in our lives that we want to be free of that. And so there's a term called consecrate. When we give God all of who we are, when we lay all of ourselves and say, God, just purify my heart. And what happens is, when we do that, he does just that. He purifies us of our sin nature. But the great thing is that happens next is that he fills us with his nature completely, his godly nature. And so in that, we turn from our bent towards serving ourselves and our selfishness and our sinful nature, and our bent turns to where we are absolutely wanting to serve and live for God completely. It actually dwells from within us. It gives us a desire to please him, to serve him, and to live for him with all of our lives. And so you see, this is our godly nature now produces a godly fruit, the fruit of the Spirit that blesses all of those around. And so now this is not saying that we can't never sin. We always have that choice to turn against the things of God. But when we have our sinful nature purified, and then we are filled completely with God's nature, and that word is being sanctified, entirely sanctified, life is much easier to live and make right choices for God. And that's where we want to be, because that's my story. I mean, after I was saved, I still had the old habits when my knees come up off the altar. I still had the old habits, and the old sin nature was still there. But then when he sanctified my heart, which came at a crisis point, because I was sick and tired of having that within me. And when I surrendered that being all to him, and he washed me and sanctified me, those old habits, those bad, sinful habits, dropped away. He empowered me to live a life that would be pure and the life that would be holy. And it was the desire to please God was more than the desire to please myself. We hope that this was helpful. That's the bestest I think we've ever done it.
Yeah.
And that's why we call it Holiness in 5, because we know everyone's busy, but we also know that the message of holiness needs to be shared, and that's our desire here at Holiness in 5. So thank you. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Captain Carlisle Gargis.
And I'm Ben Godwin.
God bless.